I got kicked in the face yesterday by a soccer ball, and it brought me to tears. And before I knew it, it turned into a very, very pleasurable experience. And before I'm gonna go deeper into this episode, let's land by taking 3 conscious breaths together. We're gonna breathe in through the nose, and we're gonna exhale with a sigh out of the mouth. So breathing in through the nose, and exhale, release. We're going to take another breath in through the nose and release. You can already hear that exhale was longer. And on the third one, give yourself full permission to extend the exhale to get as loud and vocal as you desire. Maybe you also want to move your body, soften your jaw, soften your shoulders, really lean into it. So breath in through the nose and release, exhale. And that shoulder tickle. I love those shifts, and I need them as much as you do. Yeah, yesterday, out of nowhere, it took me full by surprise. 1 second, I just turned my head and I got this ball straight up onto my face. My glasses flew off. And for a second, I was just like, what just happened? I was standing at a soccer field because we just finished soccer training from my son. And while we walked out of it, there is like, you walk past that goal, even though there are huge nets, but I must have just stand right at the edge of it, and that ball came around to actually like really hit my face. Like, come on, what are the chances? But yeah, it hit me straight up in the face. And for a moment, I didn't even know what was happening. Then I realized, oh my, I just got hit in the face, kicked in the face, checked my nose. And in that moment, I realized, okay, it doesn't seem to be broken. I'm not bleeding. I'm fine. I should be good. It's all good. And even though I told myself and knew in my mind, I'm good, I'm safe, like it was just, a ball in the face, my body wasn't fine. My body reacted differently. And as soon as I got my glasses picked up, even they were fine. I mean, I've got a couple bruises here where it's hit, but it's fine. That moment, I got myself together. My kids came around the corner, just like, what just happened, Mom? Because they were just like, what's Mom doing? Was putting her glasses on, and her face is like quite in shock. And in that moment, I just started crying. And then I had a feeling of, oh, I could actually really like break down here right now, because then I realized in that moment what this reminded me of, why I might have started crying in that moment, because my nervous system, my body wasn't fine, even though I told myself I was fine. My nervous system and my body actually put me back into a past situation. So when I was within my DV relationship, I got my nose broken. You might be able to see that little scar here on the top. So I got my nose broken, which was a horrible experience. I have never broken anything on my body before that. Got my nose broken, which you might understand or can imagine how painful that is if something breaks in the middle of your face. Painful, but also the emotional pain of the whole situation. And even though that has been years ago, that moment of just turning my head, having something straight hit my face, triggered my body, triggered my nervous system, putting it back into that past situation where I got my nose broken for the first time. And even though I could tell myself I am safe, my body didn't feel safe. And that is one of the things that I have learned over the years that you can't think your way into safety. You need to feel your way into safety. And this is why I'm so passionate about somatic pleasure as a felt experience. And this is also why you can say the body keeps the score, because your body always knows, and your body is the one who's going to react and run you, not just your mind. So this is why thinking alone does not help you. Mindset alone does not help you. You're going to have to heal and work with your body through somatic experiences. So my body in that moment was just like, well, we are back where we've broken our nose. And even though I've told my body, no, we're safe, we're all good, I needed to then actually work with my body. And I'm so grateful now that I have learned all these tools. So in that moment, when I then started crying and I felt, oh, I could really have a really collapse here. But then I also realized my kids just looked at me, Mom, why are you crying? What's going on, Mom? Are you really hurt? Do we need to do something? And then other families all around. This is not the place to have a full collapse. I'm gonna regulate. I'm gonna self-soothe. I'm gonna use my tools to let my body know I am safe. And I'm also give myself some time later to close the loop. So I started to do my breathing to extend my exhale and really use those pursed lips. I used self-touch, gave myself a hug, felt my body, then squeezed my body and talked to myself. You are safe. You are here in the present. You are safe. You are here in the present. You are good. So I really used a few different tools in that moment. I said to my kids, Mummy is okay. Mummy just needs a moment. And they knew, okay, I'm just going to give you a moment. They observed. I gave myself what I needed. I also gave myself what I needed back then, where I didn't have all these tools, where I was completely left by myself without anything. And I felt so helpless, where now I knew I've got myself. And this is also something where I believe it is so important and beneficial that we learn these somatic tools that work for us, for our specific body, so that we can implement and apply them in such moments. Because the trigger of the ball hitting my face, this can be applied to anything. When we have experienced trauma, that can be triggered at any time, anywhere. Let it be a new relationship, a situation at work, within the family, a business, whatever, wherever. There could unexpectedly something hit your body, where your body thinks, I'm back in the past. And then when you have got those tools, you can actually help yourself moving through it, to actually close the loop, to also let yourself experience what you need to experience, what you need to feel. Because I interrupted my emotions that I had in that moment by shortening it, I knew that I haven't actually closed the loop of the experience. So instead of having that at the soccer field, I said to myself, I'm going to give myself later that time to feel what needs to be felt. At home, once I was by myself and had my privacy and knew I won't get interrupted, I took myself into my pleasure-lit space where I feel held, where I feel absolutely in my body. I put on some music and then connected with my body, took a few conscious breaths, and then let myself feel what needed to be felt. And there was release, there was some sadness, there was some tears, there was also a bit of anger. And before you actually know it, it turned into a very pleasurable experience. And I'm mentioning this because this is something that I don't think is talked about enough. When you are fully connected to your body, when you are in it and let yourself feel, you open that whole spectrum of what's possible. And that's why I always say you can't experience pleasure if you shut yourself off, if you armor yourself of not getting hurt again. So you want to avoid pain. You're also armoring yourself from pleasure and love. And once you are opening one side, you're opening the other side as well. So you are actually widening and expanding the capacity. And when you widen and expand that capacity to feel pain, sadness, anger, you also widen the one for pleasure and love. So in the moment that I let myself feel, where I knew I can uninterrupted cry and feel sad and feel angry. I was really in my body. And before you know it, with some self-touching and breathing, this can actually turn into, ooh, feeling my sensations. Oh, my breath is actually regulating by itself without me purposely. I sort of down-regulate. It just moved from that anger and sadness into, oh, I'm feeling those sensations. Ooh, that starts to tickle. Ooh, that starts to feel good. Oh, my breath is starting to, extend and feels more grounded. Ooh, I feel in my body. Ooh, this feels good. How about, And before I knew it, it turned into a very, very pleasurable experience where I was riding those waves of pleasure multiple times. I might actually share a little bit more about that particular experience within my women's pleasure notes. So on Substack, I have got 2 Substacks. One is Pleasure It with Patricia, which is purely for the somatic pleasure for women. I've got also another one that is called Women's Pleasure Notes, where I share intimate voice notes all around pleasure for women, where I share a little bit more uncensored about these real lived experiences as a pleasure explorer to inspire, to empower you on your pleasure journey. Because by heart, I am a pleasure explorer and pleasure educator. I love to explore, to experiment, to find out, what can we experience? Because that's what has helped me on my journey. And I love to share all of those teachings and learnings and experiences so that others can benefit from it as well. So there's no gatekeeping here. What I experience, and as a woman who has been so numb and disconnected from her body, so high functioning, capable, the good girl, to have such a self exploration journey to now being multi orgasmic. I've unlocked pleasures in intensity, variety I would have never imagined. I thought I'm the woman who is broken, who can't experience deep pleasure, to now being so embodied in that. So this is what I'm sharing more within women's pleasure notes on my Substack. And I'm sharing those through voice notes because I find this is such a beautiful way to connect. I also have got online courses around embodied pleasure, king, yoni worshipping, solo pleasure, pleasure toys and tools, how to embody your pleasure-led dom, because that's what I've learned over the time. And as I said, I love to share my learnings so you can experience deeper pleasure. Now, closing the loop in in my story as well, that was me closing the loop of that trigger experience. So when our body feels triggered or has a trauma experience, it wants to move through those emotions. And if we suppress it, if we stop it, if we say, oh, I can't I can't feel sad right now, which is so common for women, and specifically for high functioning women, the high achieving ones, independent ones. I don't need anybody. I'm fine. I'm okay. Who move on very quickly because they don't want to feel, or they cannot allow themselves to feel. They shut themselves off because they are armored. That is then suppressing those emotions. And when we suppress them, they're gonna come out, they're gonna speak louder eventually and show up completely differently. Instead of suppressing those, let yourself feel your emotions, but knowing that you've got yourself. So not getting lost in it. Now there's the option of putting a timer on that, where you can allow yourself for the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna feel the anger, the sadness, and move through the emotions. I personally don't like to put a timer on it, and just try to observe and notice the shifts so that we are not getting lost in it, because we could eventually get lost in, okay, I feel sad now and I just don't want to hold everything together anymore. I'm done being the capable one, which is also for high functioning women who are holding everything together. Sometimes our body is in that moment of, oh, this is now my outlet. Now I can finally let go. Now I can finally be, I don't have to hold anything in me, don't take any responsibilities. Let me just be in that now. But it's important that we actually pull ourselves out of that. And usually when you start to feel your anger and your sadness and move through the emotions, there will be like subtle shifts where you might notice, oh, okay, your body does automatically like a sniff, sniff, sigh. So when you're like really crying and all of a sudden, that's your body already giving you the sign and the cues. Okay, we're ready to actually downregulate, self-soothe, or you automatically start to touch your arm and squeeze it or give yourself a hug. Then that is the moment where you know, okay, we're now ready to actually come back, orientate ourselves. Sometimes also helps then to orientate yourself into the room. You can use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice, where you name what you can see and smell and taste to get yourself back into the present moment. I'm going into all of these practices and tools, and specifically on how to feel your emotions, how to move through them. All of that work is within the Pleasure Lit Woman program, where we have that real deep transformation through somatic pleasure alchemy. So we regulate, then we rewire, then we reclaim, and we radiate. I also share some somatic tools and practices within my online community, the Pleasure Lit Circle, which is also for women, and you can join at any time. For more details on how to join, go to pleasurelit.com. 10 years ago, this experience would have been completely different. It would have completely taken me out. Where now, having those tools and also having experiences like this where you can actually implement them and you are moving through it, you come out of the other side. I mean, mine led into a self-pleasure session. I feel yummy and delicious now afterwards. This experience builds such deeper connection to self now, more self-trust and safety from within, because whatever comes and happens, I know I've got myself. I know I can move through it. And this is exactly why I am so passionate about this work, why I'm so passionate about somatic pleasure, why I'm so passionate about the Pleasure Lit Woman program, because this is exactly what I'm teaching in there. Because more women, we all deserve to feel safe in our body. We all deserve to access and reclaim our pleasure. We all deserve to feel safe in our body, to feel, to experience our life, to be human. I'm also glad that I didn't get my nose broken, by the way, because when I did get it broken, it was actually to the extent that I couldn't breathe properly. And I was backpacking at that time in Australia, and in Australia, the doctors said they can't do anything about it. So I actually had to book a flight to Germany. And as soon as I arrived there, went on surgery, got my nose fixed. They actually had to take that part out, fix it on the table, plug it back in, which was like, okay, thanks for telling me that. They added, don't break it again, because that is now really thin. And if I do break it again, it probably has to be metal or something else being put in just to like keep it up straight. So quite a few takeaway messages from this episode. First of all, I would like to let you know that if you feel restricted in your pleasure potential, if you feel limited, please know that it is possible for you to access deeper pleasure. It is already within you. It is you. You can feel turned on by yourself, by life itself. I know what's possible from disconnected and numbness to become multi-orgasmic. Yes, it's possible. Creating that deeper connection to self, creating that safety from within is so super important. It's basically the foundation for you to be able to open up, to experience the whole spectrum of life, to be able to sit with it and not actually shut down or suppress, but actually sitting and moving through the emotions to even expand in them, to transmute and alchemize pain and sadness into pleasure. Also, that is possible. From someone who had low self-esteem, looking to be saved and loved externally, to now being deeply in love with myself, knowing I've got myself, I can move through life and experience it. I would love to hear from you. What has resonated with you from this episode? Have you had an experience where pain and sadness, grief, anger turned into pleasure? Have you had an experience where something out of nowhere triggered you, and even though you knew in your mind that you are safe and okay, your body told you otherwise? And how have you moved through that situation? You can access my free workshop at pleasurelit.com/links. When you've loved this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star rating, and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure into this world. Sending you lots of love and pleasure. Mwah.